Devin the Dream Haney is gonna be mixing it up with Brian Norman Jr. Supposedly November is when we are going to get this fight. Uh, Stay tuned for further notice, I guess. Um, so Devin Haney, man, he's gotten a lot of hell the past year and a half, bro. He's been getting a lot of hell before the Ryan Garcia fight, but definitely after the Ryan Garcia fight, he's been getting a lot of backlash for the lawsuit, for complaining about losing, for getting his loss rolled back, for complaining about the loss with the pen use, and he just can't catch a break, bro. And then especially in the fight with Ramirez, it wasn't really the best performance, But one thing I always said about Devin Haney, bro, he always had heart, bro. He always got heart. You rarely hear the excuses coming from this kid when it comes to getting in the ring with these dudes. He got in the ring with Regis' program. People said Regis was a big threat, that he was going to get stopped by Regis. He got there with a lot of other dudes. He took risk in fights. He took risks against good punchers like Jorge Linares. People will call him a runner, and then he decided to stand there and plant his feet and fight, gets rocked, then he's chitty, and he got no defense, and he decided to fight Ryan Garcia. And he wanted to go there for the knockout, and he stood his ground and didn't run, so to speak, right? Didn't run, and then when he got hit, he don't even know how to block the left hook. He's chitty. Look how many times he got knocked down. But then if he would have evaded the knockdowns by running around the ring, then everybody would say he was a runner. So it's just like, goddamn, can the kid get a break? And he's about to step in the ring with Brian Norman Jr. Who else wants to fight Brian Norman? You got so-called heavy hitters and these big power punchers like Tank Davis. He don't even want to step in the ring with a Brian Norman Jr. You had, we heard stories about Brian Norman and Tank when they sparred. You got dudes that, allegedly Gerard Ennis don't want to fight him. He moved up to 154. People think he skated up out of the division because Brian Norman was a threat. Even though the knockout came before Boots even, it came after Boots announced that he was moving up to 154. But there's still people saying that Gerard Ennis, he ducked the smoke. There were some things that was a little weird about that, with Boots, and I admit that. But it was some things on both ends that I was just rubbing my head. Like, why these dudes just don't get in the ring and fucking fight, bro? They both got a lot to, they're risking it. They're betting on themselves. And this is the reason why I love Devin Haney, because, people said, yeah, man, Cambosos, he wasn't a real threat to Dev. But listen, yes, he was, because those fights was in Australia, man. He could have got robbed and ripped off in those fights. He still went over there and risked it. So he's risking a lot now, getting in the ring with a Brian Norman Jr. The kid is already rich. He don't really have to fight no more. And he decided to get there with people who they deem as the best. There was a time when you heard talks of him fighting Gerard Ennis. Oh, man, don't put, he gonna kill Dev. It's boxing, bro. Even if, I'm not saying literally you don't want to see him killed, but this is boxing. This is what these dudes do. They're warriors. Rather you call them runners, you call them punchers, heavy hit. They're all warriors in every shape of the faction, every shape of the word. Okay, so they're all warriors in their own way. All right, so I give Dev the utmost respect, man. If we get in the ring with Brian Norman Jr., who appears to be a very heavy-handed dude, then all respect to Dev, yo. We'll see what he can do with Brian Norman Jr. Look, you're only as good as your last fight, bro. And, how I like to predict my fights, I like to go back to the fighters' last three fights and look at how they was performing in their last three. And that can give me some kind of a gauge on who potentially will win that fight. When this fight get really announced and really set in stone as official, I will be making a prediction, so stay tuned, man. I think Dev has more heart than probably the heavy dudes in the heavier weight classes. Definitely got more heart than dudes between 135 and 140 for sure. All these other dudes make all these excuses. Richardson Hinch is making excuses when it came to Subriel Mati. T and Fimo always with the excuses. It was hard enough getting Ryan Garcia in the ring. He had to get juiced up to fight Devin Haney. Javante Davis, many excuses. Never fought Dev all these years. All right, but then it's somehow Devin Haney's fault. It's crazy. But anyway, shout out to Devin Haney, man. Making shit pop, making it happen. Let's go. It's your boy Rebel Like Boxing. What you think, man? Talk to me. Catch y'all in the next one.